the doors are open here at the House of Wellness.
Today, the obesity epidemic fighting the nation's growing waistline.
Obesity needs to be treated seriously. It's a disease.
The truth about detox and what it does to your insides.
And we talk to Australian men about why they need to man up and share their emotions.
Our masculinity and what it takes to be a man is actually killing us.
Inspiration, smiles, advice and good food. We've got a show packed with all of that and much more.
And how happy and healthy we can be.
So let's all get well, stay well, live well and look fabulous.
Right here in the House of Wellness.
All the way down.
Hello, welcome to the show over the next hour or so where we help you live your best life. Hello to you, Zoe.
Hi, Ed. Hello, everyone. Now, some important issues on the show today. Did you know that 1 in 7 young Australians have mental health issues? So, later in the show, we're going to look into the problems in this area, but also the solutions that are out there.
Absolutely. Stick around, some really vital stuff coming your way. Gerald Quigley is with us too. What have you got for us today?
Hello, Ed. Hello, Zoe.
Hello.
If you're feeling tired and fatigued,
Yes.
I have the answers. Stay with us on the A to Z of vitamins today.
Looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Gerald. Some really big issues going to be covered. And, of course, one of them is that we all hear reports of Australia facing obesity. Approximately 2 in 3 adults are overweight or obese, and this number is predicted to rise significantly.
Yes, and the effects on our health are absolutely shocking. Excess weight is a major risk factor in many adult illnesses and lifestyle diseases. Not only that, it's now affecting our kids as well.
Absolutely. Great to have James Tobin, who joins us to look into how it's affecting all Aussies. G'day, JT.
Hi, Ed. Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
Look, obesity is something that we all know is on the rise, but when the doctors I spoke to for this story started to use the term epidemic, well, it's pretty concerning.
Wow.
So I set out to find out why we've gotten to this place and what we can do to stop it.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate. Thank you. You too. Have a good one. You know, it feels like the most normal thing in the world, picking up a meal at a drive-thru. But it wasn't that long ago, in evolutionary terms, that you couldn't imagine getting this much sugar or saturated fat in one meal. But these days, you don't even have to get out of your car. But the question is, at what cost?
The World Health Organization labels obesity as a global epidemic. In Australia, it's costing our health system over $14 billion a year, and it's only getting worse. By 2025, 35% of us will be obese. And we know obesity leads to multiple complications such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even some cancers.
Obesity needs to be treated seriously. It's a disease, and if trends continue the way they are, by 2022, we will have more children and adolescents that are overweight and obese than what there are children and adolescents that are underweight.
Researchers are looking into all the exacerbating factors of this epidemic, from gut flora to stress and sedentary lifestyles. But when you consider we Aussies make a staggering 51.5 million visits to fast food outlets every month, it seems processed food is a big part of the problem.
When Dr. Nick Fuller's using words like epidemic and disease to describe obesity, you realise that this has gone to the next level. And it leaves you wondering, what do we do about it?
Meet the Smiths. 2.5 years ago, these guys sold their house and bought a motorhome so they could tour the nation, helping school kids understand the benefits and joys of eating good food.
When you travel the country like what we do and you see what kids are eating on a day-to-day basis, the food is not great. So my aim is to empower kids to actually ask what's in my food.
Belle is a health and wellness coach who cured her husband Israel's postnatal depression by changing his diet. And so began the root cause. A family on a mission to change kids' eating habits one lunchbox at a time.
As a mum, I read a report that said, you know, our kids' generation were likely to have a shorter life expectancy than us as parents. And I was just like, you know what, like if we're going to do this, let's actually do it, you know, travel Australia and make a difference.
So far, the Smiths have visited 90 schools and spoken with 20,000 students. It's a huge commitment, but one that's paying off for both Australia and the Smiths. So, on to the show. Belle dresses up as a mad scientist and uses good old-fashioned interactive theatre techniques to engage her audience.
We do an experiment where we look at your senses, you know, your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and it's designed to test what parents face every day, which is, I don't like that, because they look at it. So this experiment, we serve them a green smoothie, which is simply frozen bananas, strawberries, and a big handful of baby spinach and water. And then, of course, when we pour it out, it's green and everyone goes, "Ugh!" But then when they taste it, all they taste is banana.
Yeah.
So it's about breaking down that vicious thing that we get where we let our eyes control our taste buds.
The Mad Science Food Program continues through a series of interactive experiments, all designed to teach kids that whole foods are better than processed foods. It seems this is the right way to fight the obesity epidemic, by nipping it in the bud.
What was the biggest thing you just learnt in there?
To not eat that much junk food anymore.
That you should always eat healthy and check what the ingredients are. The biggest lesson that I learned in there was it's really, really important to eat all your fruit and veggies, because most of my friends, they eat lots of junk food and stuff. And except for my friend Emily, I'd say you keep up healthy, and it's actually really good that you get only fruit all day, because that's really healthy for you.
Such an important story.
Yep.
Now, we're all here thinking that obesity is only relating really to adults, but that's not true.
I know, it's staggering, but 20 to 25% of children and adolescents suffer from obesity.
25%.
I know, it is a staggering number, but I guess the positive story is that obesity is a big problem, but the children are the solution. And it's about empowering the kids to make the right decisions. So that's what, you know, as you saw in the story, you know, it's when the kids have a little bit more information and they take that information back to mum and dad and start questioning mum and dad, then everyone in the family is starting to work together.
Now, I've known Belle and Israel, he's a fabulous photographer, by the way, for about 10 years. Didn't know he had postnatal depression. Interesting. So I understand their motivation getting out there. What's been the secret behind their success, do you think?
Yeah, they're such a lovely family and they've got a really interesting story. And part of the story is they started to give their kids really healthy food because as a result of that postnatal depression, they looked at the diet of the family and the kids started to get teased because they had healthy food at school.
Yeah.
And I think it was just the other kids just finding it a bit strange. So they thought, we've got to do something about this. They bought the bus, they're going into schools, they're teaching, and it's all interactive. It's science experiments and using your hands.
Yeah.
And then parents from those kids are now starting to do the healthy thing too.
Great stuff. Great story, and keep an eye out for them on the roads around the country as well. Indeed, we're around the country. You can always dial in via the internet, houseofwellness.com.au. Health at your fingertips. Our website's so great for advice and recipes and looking back at some of our stories too.
Yes, and give us a call. We love your calls, 1800 469 788.
And make us a friend on Facebook too. Lots of pictures. Great way to stay in touch.
Yes, so much going on today. We've got makeup secrets straight from the World Runway and knee pain. I'm going to show you how to treat it.
Later, how to make you shiny on the inside. And it's all about what you eat.
But coming up next, we meet a couple of tradies who are making changes to their trade for the right reasons.
This is a great story, and it's all happening here on the House of Wellness. Welcome back. Well, as you can see, I've changed my shirt for this next segment. It is a high-vis work shirt, and it's part of a great story on our House Heroes this week, which will explain the meaning behind it.
Yes, it is definitely a conversation starter, Ed.
Yeah.
This week we meet two great mates who were embarking on a new business venture when tragedy struck someone very close to them.
So from the loss came the idea of changing tack on their business direction, and the change they made is to help save lives.
I lost one of my best mates just over 2 years ago to suicide, and I think in the process of brainstorming and creating, we just came to the conclusion that it would be great to be able to affect, you know, mental health and a social issue. I'm Dan.
I'm Ed.
And we're the co-founders of TradeMutt.
TradeMutt is a progressive social enterprise aiming to clothe tradies and in doing so reduce the rate of male suicide in this country and break down the stigma of mental health.
We feel like by creating a vibrant range of tradie wear, what they are is a conversation starter. So as we know, guys aren't that great at talking about their feelings or emotions. The rate of male suicide in Australia is staggering, and it's something that needs to be spoken about more. We know what tradies look like. We all look the same, high-vis, orange, yellow, khaki. There's not too much flavour.
If you're going to work every day just wearing a basic orange shirt or a basic yellow shirt, if you're rocking up to work wearing something that's a bit loud, a bit different and cheerful and puts a smile on people's faces as they walk on the job site, that's making a positive change already, so. So I was working with Dan when all this went through with his mate. When he said, you know, he wanted to make a change, I said, that's fantastic. I want to support you through it as well.
We wouldn't care if we were swinging that hammer for the rest of our lives, but if we saw our shirts on a few people's backs and they were starting the conversation and we broke down a stigma, we would be very, very happy men.
With every sale of every shirt, we're making a donation to our charity partner, This Is a Conversation Starter. They're running a new initiative through Mental Health Week in October. We're aiming to get 7 Australian comedians and 7 Australian music artists to collaborate and pair up and release a song for each day of Mental Health Week. If you're an artist or a comedian and you want to get involved with our charity partner, This Is a Conversation Starter, please get onto their website and jot your name down. We need you.
Mate, that's no good.
What's wrong with that?
Here we are. We've got the opportunity to say that we're tradies turned fashionistas, you know, and have you heard of Milan? I think you can expect to see us strutting our stuff. Are we a hero?
No.
You can see the shirt really is a conversation starter, isn't it? And like we heard with the boys, if you know any comedians or musicians, they're after 7 of each to kind of collaborate together, let them know. Get them involved. It's an awesome cause. You just got to head to our website for the link at thehouseofwellness.com.au.
I do love men in a bit of colour.
It's a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're such gorgeous guys.
Yeah.
And for every shirt purchased, a percentage will go to the This Is a Conversation Starter movement, and that is what this is all about.
Yep, absolutely. Good luck, fellas. Now, the cool weather has definitely arrived, hasn't it? And for many people, the winter months are challenging times when you're trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So what can we do to stay on track?
Yeah, good question. Some will diet, some will exercise, but others may try the mysterious detox.
Detox?
But is it a thing? Like, what does it mean to detox your body? Can it help you lose those extra kilos? Does it make a healthier you?
Well, to tell us what the hell a detox actually is, joining us today is our dietitian and nutritionist, Susie Burrell. Hi, Suze.
Hi.
The thing about this word, it's kind of in our psyche as a bit of a punishment, isn't it, a detox?
Absolutely, and we see a lot of juice fasts and special cleansers available, and the truth is that the liver and the kidneys do a very good job of naturally detoxing us. So I like to look at it as a detox as a bit of a dietary reset. So it's a period of time in which you can really focus on fresh, unprocessed foods, getting rid of the sugar, getting rid of the caffeine, getting rid of the fast food, and just reminding yourself how good it feels when you're eating fresh, wholesome, natural food for that period of time.
Okay. Is there a good way and a bad way?
There is indeed, because there's ways that you would argue can be even dangerous when you're restricting calories for long periods of time and still being very active. Obviously, you need to do it in a way that's making sure you don't run out of energy and you're not losing too much muscle mass. And hence, as a dietitian, we've designed, when I design a detox, it's to make sure it ticks all those boxes and people are doing it the right way to lose a few kilos, but not sacrificing or sabotaging their health.
All right, unveil the mystery. What happens with a detox? What do we do?
Well, the first thing people notice is that they have a bit of a caffeine withdrawal.
True.
And sometimes a sugar withdrawal, which can lead to quite a nasty headache. People can feel tired, they feel achy, because we're in habits of eating these foods in large amounts all the time and the body likes them.
Yeah.
You know, we know that the brain lights up a little bit like drugs when we're having concentrated mixes of sugar and fast food. So if you go cold turkey and eliminate those, it takes a few days for the body to readjust and get feeling good again when you get the benefits of a detox.
So, yeah, you touched on feeling achy and headachy and all of that stuff. How can we feel if we actually commit to it all the way through?
Well, if you make sure you're doing it for a set period of time and allowing yourself to get through that first couple of days, you will actually feel much better quite quickly. But you've got to get through that initial 1 to 2 days. Usually start to go to the bathroom more, you feel lighter, more energised, your eyes tend to respond quite quickly and become clearer and more sparkly, and you just feel lighter and often more energised because you start to metabolise your fuel a lot more efficiently than you were when you were overdoing the calories and the sugars.
Right, so I like your thinking. It's a bit of a diet reset. So after the detox finishes, you move on to reset part 2, essentially.
Well, ideally, you'll maintain some of those key habits, like having 7 to 10 serves of fresh fruit and vegetables a day, having bucket loads of herbal tea and water so you feel hydrated and well all the time, and you keep the intake of caffeine that we've come to over-rely on in our sugary foods to a minimum so you can have those health benefits long-term.
Alrighty, so think of it as a diet reset, clean, unprocessed foods for this 5 to 7 days, clean out all your cupboards of all the junk, all those temptations and so on, and then continue on the back of that with that as the sort of basis of your good diet, some good unprocessed stuff. Great stuff, Suze.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, taking all that on board, you guys, we've got something a little bit different for you now. Would you please welcome to the studio Frank Salatino. Frank, hello, mate. Get comfy here. Frank's joining us on the show.
I know, thank you, Frank. Now, you have decided to do a detox on the show with our viewers. Why?
Because I don't feel well. And I get up in the morning, actually, and the first thing that I do, I go to a service station and I buy meat pie or sausage roll, and not very healthy for breakfast. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not healthy.
So the result of that after many years is?
Many years, yes.
How do you feel?
Pretty bad, actually.
Okay.
Is it energy? Do you feel lethargic? Are you feeling
sluggish?
I
I can't sleep at night, to be honest with you. I feel sluggish and, yeah, it's not healthy at all.
Alrighty. This is a sign of taking on a lot of processed foods in your diet, not letting your body rest and do its job of, you know, digesting and recovering and living well.
Absolutely. You're not getting the nutrition that you need to have your digestive system working efficiently, keeping your liver on track. We get tired and run down, and then, of course, we have more of those foods that are making us feel ordinary. So we've developed a special program for Frank, taking into account his lifestyle. He's busy, he's working long days, to give him this diet reset and hopefully shift a few kilos, but doing it the right way and help him feel well and energised again.
Right, Frank, we're going to do this detox. What are you hoping for out of it?
I just want to feel better, and with the mortality rate in Australia, actually, at the moment, it's pretty bad. So I just don't want to be one of those statistics.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Susie's going to line up this detox diet for you for the next 5 to 7 days. Okay. We're going to give you a video diary cam.
You're going to show us the good, the bad, the ugly?
Absolutely. And we're going to come back on the show next week and see how you feel. Great. Deal?
Yep, deal.
Sounds good. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. We'll be back in a week with these two. We'll be back right after this break with more on the House of Wellness. And don't forget, we're right across the country on the 7 and Prime networks, helping you make healthier choices.
Later, we'll be learning secret makeup tips hot off the fashion runways around the world.
And it's soup weather. We've got a pumpkin soup that has more than a punch of goodness. We're turning on your taste buds next on the House of Wellness. How about that in your bowl? From nutritious to delicious. Roasted pumpkin soup with quinoa and toasted coconut.
I love the toasted coconut.
Clever.
Look at a crunch. You know, quinoa has been around for a while now.
Oh, it's
trendy.
the ancient grain.
It is indeed. And it is full of nutritional goodies like vitamin B and pumpkin. Don't get me started on the pumpkin. You know, vitamin E, thiamine and folate. You know what I'm saying, GQ?
I don't know why Susie and I are here, Zoe.
I'm questioning it too.
We've got our experts here for your calls. Let's get straight into them. David's standing by in Esk. In the Tablelands in Queensland, how can we help you out, David?
I'm a semi-retired builder. I've been really tired all the time. I just need something to pick me up.
All right, first suggestion from you, GQ.
David may have peaked at our next segment where we're going to talk about coenzyme Q10, the energiser. And the other thing, David, is look at some protein. Build up your protein because sometimes you get into the carb habit and protein will make the difference.
Is that for everybody? Because I feel tired. Like, is for men, women the same thing?
Well, yeah, but you're in a slightly different situation than David.
That's true. That is true. But can women do the same thing, or do they need different supplements?
If they're not feeding and if they're not a new mum, yes, they can.
Okay, great. I'll call you later for my tips and tricks.
Susie, you might be able to help with this. Emails from Kathy in Heatley in Queensland. She said, I've accumulated quite a bit of stubborn fat around my waist and hips. Is this normal as I get older, or should I be trying to shift it?
Kathy, it is all about how much carbohydrate you're consuming, because as we get older, we're not as efficient at processing our carbohydrate. And so I would cut back at night, so have light meals at night. And if it doesn't really start to move, perhaps see your GP and have an insulin check. And sometimes that can be a hormone that's blocking fat loss as you get older.
Interesting. And to our favourite pharmacist.
Those hormones can certainly interplay, can't they? Green tea. I like green tea extract, Susie. Drinking green tea, taking a green tea extract seems to help with the metabolic rate.
Alrighty. Now, Mary has called us up from Kenthurst in New South Wales. Hi, Mary.
I'd like to know how to get rid of middle ear infection.
Yeah, ouch.
These are recurring because the ear is a perfect environment for bugs to grow and you can often get rid of them, but there's some residuals in there. So you build your immune function. Mary, we've talked about immune function often. A good herb, echinacea, is probably my favourite, and make sure your ear is kept dry. So perhaps before going in the shower, plug it with some cotton wool.
Good luck, Mary. They really hurt those middle ear infections. Next up, an email from Magella from Cannington in WA.
Great name.
I've developed indigestion recently. I've tried antacids, liquid herbs. They're not helping. Any thoughts from you, dietitian?
Without a doubt, stand up after meals or keep upright, because often we slump in the lounge chair and that makes it worse. And then anything from GQ?
There's the secret. And slippery elm is the herb I go to because it actually coats the tummy.
And no overeating, right? Like just...
Yes.
Easier said than done,
I know.
but slow mouthfuls.
Thank you, experts. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a sec, right after this break on the House of Wellness.
Coming up, if you've got a pain in the knee, we may have the help you need.
But after the break, a really important subject. We're talking to Aussie blokes about their emotions.
If that conversation happens, it might save their life.
Stay with us. We are the House of Wellness.
Welcome back. Now, this is really important, and I understand a lot of women watch this show, so if your husband, your son or brother, even a male friend is nearby, go and get him to watch this. It's a conversation they really need to hear.
Now, according to Lifeline, male death by suicide in Australia occurs at a rate 3 times greater than that for females. That is a sign that we need to get our men talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Frightening stats. So, to help find a solution, Zoe Bingley-Pullin brought this conversation together to a round table.
Every year, too many families lose their dads, their brothers and their sons to suicide. Across the globe, we lose a man to suicide every minute of every day. And in Australia, 1 out of 6 men suffer depression at any given time. It is a known fact that very few Aussie men with anxiety and depression will seek treatment. So why is this?
Is it a stigma? Or do they see it as a sign of weakness? Or is it just that the men feel that they need to man up, keep the boy code and deal with it? Well, whatever it is, it's wrong. Today, we've put together a group of people that want to share their knowledge, experience when it comes to the topic of mental health.
If we all just get off our high horse for a moment and go, you know what, it's absolutely okay not to be okay.
After losing one of his closest mates to suicide, radio host Gus Worland founded the Gotcha for Life Foundation, raising money and awareness to help men and boys' mental health.
Why did we not see it? I mean, we did see it, but we didn't know what to do with it.
Lizzie White began her counselling career after losing her brother to suicide.
There's 4 blokes to every woman in Australia who commit suicide, so it's definitely a much male-dominated thing.
Dr. Olav Nielsen is a professor of psychiatry with decades of experience in suicide prevention.
I get around, nobody knows unless they know me.
And Brad Spillane has his own journey with mental health, and is a survivor of a suicide attempt. Dr. Nielsen, do you want to give us a snapshot of what is mental health?
I guess it can be understood in terms of freedom from the manifestations of particular mental illnesses, anxiety, depression, psychosis and so forth. The anxiety and depression in particular affect about 5 or 6% of the community at any given time.
Why is it you think that men actually don't put their hand up and say, hey, I need some help?
Boys don't cry, men don't cry.
Our masculinity and what it takes to be a man is actually killing us. So we have to do something differently to what we're doing at the moment. 6 a day we lose, 2 women a day, but more women attempt it than men.
So more women attempt, but more men complete.
So that shows the problem we have, the problem we have in this country. If those numbers were actually road toll, you would ban cars.
The hard numbers Gus is talking about make hard reading. And in 2016, of the 2,866 deaths by suicide, 75% of them were male. That's just over 74,000 potential happy years of human life lost in 12 short months. And no one at this table knows the menace behind these numbers more intimately than Brad. Brad, I mean, your story, when I read it, it broke my heart, to be really honest. Can you tell me a little bit about it, what happened to you?
I felt like I was basically always trying to get out of this clay pit. Every time I tried to climb, I was falling back down and the pit was getting deeper and deeper. Everything at that point of my life, there was nowhere for me to go. That was the only option that I had.
But that's how you felt.
That's how I felt.
That actually wasn't the truth, though.
Yeah.
It was your truth in your moment.
At that time.
At that time, did you have anyone to talk to?
No.
For every death by suicide in Australia, it is estimated that as many as 30 people attempt to end their lives. But talking to someone is proven to save lives. Australia's first telephone support service, Lifeline, was launched in 1963. Today, its phone lines and websites receive 400,000 calls from men who need help every year. But the truth is, men are more likely to open up to male counsellors. So that's where Gotcha for Life has stepped up to help.
Something that Gotcha for Life has done, we've put a scholarship together now, so if you want to be trained up as a Lifeline counsellor, we'll pay for it. So that takes away that little hurdle that might be stopping some blokes. If we get more blokes answering the phones, then more likely perhaps for them to have the convo. If that conversation happens, it might save their life.
While all the evidence around suicide prevention points to open dialogue saving lives, 20% of Australians still believe talking about suicide actually increases the risk of people dying. So it's clear that attitudes need to change. Because talking honestly, openly, with family and friends isn't about solving someone's problem, but helping that person feel connected and supported.
You're in a crisis and you talk about how you deal with crisis. I think we're scared of that. We're afraid. We want to fix you. You're not okay. We want you to be okay. But what we need to do is go, it's okay not to be okay.
Exactly.
And there's treatment there. There's it's probably not well known that Australia's got the leading online mental health service for anxiety and depression. We run out of Macquarie Uni called MindSpot. You just get onto mindspot.org.au and you can do it in privacy and in anonymity. It's perfect for guys. I wish more guys would do it.
It's the problem with us blokes. We will talk to the cows come home. We'll talk about footy. We'll talk about the weather, work, but we won't talk about things that are important. We won't have that connection where we look at each other in the eye, and they're the conversations I would love Aussie blokes to have. Because if we're having that, then we've got that Gotcha for Life, mate. We're more likely to be able to cope with the shit that gets thrown at us, and we'll be able to throw out all this armour that for years we've been told that we have to wear because that's the man's role, that's the man's job. And I truly believe that our mental health issues would deteriorate to a really lower number, and a number that we should have for a country like Australia.
What about that stat that Dr. Nielsen mentioned? I can barely believe it. In terms of these horrible suicide stats, men 4 to 1 over women.
It's a startling statistic, and that's why we thought it was so important to keep it in that format, in that round table, and keep this dialogue strong and informative. Suicide is something that affects more men than women. Not to say that women aren't affected deeply by mental health issues. There is such a stigma, and we need to break that, and we need to encourage men to know that there is so much strength in
talking to people. I love it how Gus kept it really simple. He had those 5 lifeline of friends. That's often all you need, is to know that there are 5 key people, anywhere from your mum, your dad, your psychologist, to actually give you that support.
First step, reach out via the phone or maybe just chat to someone you love, of course. The simple truth is you'll feel a little bit better again. That starts the ball rolling.
Look, I mean, I know many friends that have gone through a lot of mental health issues, and the Are You OK campaign, the Lifeline, you know, Beyond Blue, Got You for Life. These are very, very important supportive elements. They're there. We just need to utilise them. We need to get more information out there so people know that those support networks are there ready for them to use at any point.
And Gus Worland from Sydney's Triple M, it's such a big issue for him. He deeply cares about this, doesn't he?
Look, Gus is a really good friend of mine, so I've chatted this to him from a professional perspective and from a personal perspective. And the loss and the grief that he felt when his friend suicided was so monumental that it had this very positive slingshot effect, and he started Got You for Life, and as you can see, he's out there educating, supporting, and he's such a strong, positive personality. I feel very, very proud for what he's actually doing, and I think we all need to do just that little bit more as well.
Terrific story. Thanks so much, Zoe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Gosh, such an important message, Ed. Now, moving on. Did you know that knee pain affects 1 in 5 of us, and that number includes children as young as 12?
Yeah, it's one of the most common reasons people see a physiotherapist. So, joining us today to help understand the cause of all this knee pain and maybe take some of that pain away is our feel-good physio, Anna-Louise Bouvier. Hi, Anna-Louise.
Hello. Hi.
Why have we all got these knobbly knees?
Well, this is the type of knee pain we're going to talk about today is called patellofemoral pain, and this is this really sort of common one because this is the patella, the kneecap, right? And it should sit in this beautiful groove, which is the end of your femur, which is the long bone that comes down from your hip. And basically what should happen is ideally you should get this lovely sliding and it should sit in that groove. But what happens is that there's muscles on the outside of your knee that are really kind of tight and stiff, and they tend to kind of pull the kneecap across. And, or it could be, say, in kids, you know, when they're growing really fast, so you get sort of this sort of torsion on the kneecap that creates problems. Or you can also be someone who's got maybe knock knees or bow legs. So if you haven't got like the perfect shaped knee, that tends to throw it out of its groove as well, and you end up with pain.
You know what? I used to get my knees strapped for this exact reason.
There you go. It's really common.
Yeah, where does this type of knee pain come from? I mean, obviously growth spurts and things like that. But
yeah, it can often be overuse. So usually people will come in and say, look, I've just decided to start training for a marathon, or I'm going to get fit, and then, you know, they haven't been fit at all. And certainly with kids, you'll see it when it comes into, say, the beginning of footy season or something like that, where people start to get problems. You'll tend to find as well, you can get this sort of pain even in older people. So, you know, it's not just about sort of young people and sport, but it is incredibly common.
All right, Feel Good Physio, I want to see what else we can do about this knee pain.
OK, well, look, some of the things that you would do, so say if you suddenly started to get a lot of knee pain, you'd want ice, all right?
Right.
But after the ice, there's a lot of other things you can do. So, Ed, come over here and I'm just going to show you a little bit more about what we can do. Now, what I need to do first is
you need my knee?
I need to see your knee.
Oh,
so let's have a look at it.
Won't be a problem. Stand by. I think that was my first rodeo, everybody. Oh, no.
Excellent.
Hey,
fantastic.
Unsee that, can
fabulous knee. So here's Ed's beautiful knee. Now you can see here, here's your kneecap.
You're going to draw on my knee.
Yes, I am. It's whiteboard, so that's good. OK, so here we go. There's your little kneecap there. OK, and basically you've got those strong muscles. These are very good muscles you got going here.
Oh, I dance on Thursdays
on this side are those muscles that kind of are really tight. But here you've got a muscle, a small part of your quadriceps. So your quadriceps basically has this big centre section, this outside section, and then this lateral section. Okay. And it's this section in particular. You better not go out dancing tonight.
That looks interesting, doesn't it, the story?
It's this muscle in particular that if you go and see a physio, they're going to give you a lot of exercises for those muscles.
All right.
And that's going to help stabilise the kneecap. Okay. Now, if that doesn't work, well, as well as, often what they'll do is they'll put on this kind of tape, which is a anti-allergy tape.
Yeah, stick it on.
And they will.
Cover up all your texture.
All righty, beauty. So basically what happens is that they'll probably put on, this is a little bit long, this piece, but what we want to do is actually keep that kneecap in position. So they'll do some taping to help just hold that knee in position. Then they put this terrific brown tape, which is like every physio has, you know, as their sort of core core activity is having lots of tape around.
While you tape me up and I reach for flannel to wash off all your texture.
Exactly.
Great tip. So ice, really good first treatment. Exercises from your physio.
Specific exercises, and also buttock exercises are usually very great for helping to stabilise the knee.
Fantastic
And
stuff.
some good taping. That's not very good taping, but it'd be something like
Final tip, don't watch Magic Mike too many times. This could happen to you. Anna-Louise, always fun.
Lovely to see you.
I don't think I'll forget this chat in a hurry.
That's exactly right.
And don't forget, Sunday mornings, you can catch us on the House of Wellness Radio edition. We are on the airwaves right across the country. Loads of great information, of course. Make sure you tune in and catch us. Coming up, if you're feeling tired or just worn out, stick around. The A to Z of vitamins is for you.
But next, we have beauty tips straight from the Paris runway to you.
We'll be back right after this break here on the House of Wellness.
Welcome back, everyone. Now it is time to look fabulous. Wouldn't it be nice to look like we're strutting on the catwalk even though we're running for the bus or chasing a toddler? Possibly. Is it easy? I don't know. But to show us how, we are joined by L'Oreal Paris makeup director Noni Smith. Welcome, Noni. Thank goodness we've got you here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Zoe.
Is it possible? I mean, we all use our tried and tested routines. Can we make it a little bit more fab?
We can make it more fab. I think we do our tried and tested things because we're all just time poor.
Yeah.
And, you know, new babies, family life, work life, careers, it's just a juggling act, and you just don't have the time or the effort to put into switching things up with your routine.
It's true, and we're like slapping something on and we don't know what's going anymore. We've seen some really great trends coming through Paris Fashion Week, and that was earlier in the year, and now Sydney Fashion Week.
Yeah.
What are some of these trends that we can bring in really easily?
Well, part of my role as the L'Oreal Paris makeup director is to interpret these trends from the runway and make them wearable for women every day.
Okay.
And two main trends that were showing up everywhere was, number one is like vibrant colour and graphic, like strong looks, very avant-garde. The second one is very natural, minimal, flawless, glowing makeup like yourself today.
Okay, and can we implement both of those quite easily?
Well, I think to pull off the bold lip, I think the bold lip trend is the way to go. The colour was either seen on the eye or the lip, and I like to do it on the lip because that's fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we do this for the women at home that want to be implementing these trends into their routine? How?
Okay, so first you want to start with flawless glowing skin.
Yes.
That's a really quick and easy way for just to walk out the door like that.
Okay.
But to bring the bold lip trend into it, I think that's a way to make you look really polished, very dressed, and it also gives you a confidence.
Now, talking confidence, you have a great lip colour on today.
Yeah, I needed a bit of extra confidence today, so I chose a bold shade. And being a makeup artist, we just can't help ourselves. We have to mix and mix. So I have mixed together Liberation and Domination, which is
a combo.
A deep purple tone and a beautiful red tone. And I like all those shades of plum, so.
So tell us about the new range with L'Oreal.
So this new range is the perfect way to update your look. These 12 stunning shades that are a collaboration between Balmain, the Parisian fashion house.
Here we are thinking it's Balmain.
It's not Balmain, the suburb of the footy team. It is actually Balmain.
Okay.
This collaboration with L'Oreal Paris is 12 beautiful shades encased in beautiful packaging. They're in the colour Riche range, so they're very creamy and moisturising.
Easy,
for
right,
the lip.
to use?
Easy to wear. They look great on the lip all day. There is something in there for everyone. They're inspired by the runway, so there are some very edgy tones and some really wearable shades, so that you will find something no matter what your skin tone, what your age, your style. There's something there for every woman.
And we're on trend.
And you're on trend. And they're limited edition. So if you want to update your bag, make sure that you run in now and grab them because they will go really quickly.
Great. Now we've got the 3 colours out. Why those in particular?
I like these 3 shades. I've been using them a lot. They're really great for winter. The first one in the black packaging down there is called Confession.
Yes.
That is a beautiful peachy, taupey colour that anyone can use, and I've been using that a lot on Delta Goodrem in the last few weeks.
Perfect if we want to look like Delta. Give me it's Confession.
Confession.
Yes.
That's from the Couture tribe in the black packaging.
Great.
The second one is Power. That's from the Rock tribe, because these lipsticks are actually separated into 3 tribes. The blue packaging, the Lapis, is from the Rock tribe. That colour Power is a really beautiful, deep chocolate tone inspired by the 90s.
Fun.
So if you're going out at night and you want to look really bold and really edgy, that's a good one to try.
Fantastic.
Thirdly, I love the one in the green packaging. That is called Fever. And it's a beautiful rusty, burnt, orangey autumnal tone. Beautiful. That's really easy to wear also.
Okay, so to wrap it up for everyone at home, we want flawless skin, so a great base.
Yeah.
We want even just a flick of mascara, right? It can be minimal.
Of mascara, a tiny bit of blush, and just choosing a really cool bold lip colour.
Yes.
To just finish off your look, give you the confidence and make you look dressed. And they're in store now and they are limited edition.
So go in and get your confidence.
I would go get them straight away because it's the perfect addition to update your makeup bag right now.
Thank you so much, Noni. I want them all. We will be back here on the House of Wellness right after the break.
Welcome back. A to Z of Vitamins time. We have enlisted the help of our favourite pharmacist, Gerald Quigley, as well. GQ, we all lead busy lives. We've got to fit in family if we can, work as well. So feeling tired and even worse, feeling fatigued kind of becomes our norm, doesn't it? We want to get a bit of a skip back into our step.
I have the solution, Ed. New spark plugs for you. It's called coenzyme Q10, which has got another name called ubiquinone. And that comes from the word ubiquitous, meaning everywhere. Because coenzyme Q10 helps produce energy in our cells.
Right. That's amazing.
As we age, we produce less and less and less, and there's not a lot in our foods. So it's important that if we are finding we're fatigued, you can always look at coenzyme Q10.
Good one. Good one to have in the cupboard.
Yeah.
And in our foods too, some really good ways to boost up those energy makers.
And it's also important, Ed, it shares a pathway with cholesterol. So sometimes if you take a statin medication, it interferes with the synthesis, lowers it by 40%. Good idea to consider.
Fantastic. By the way, the A to Z of Vitamins brought to us by Go Healthy. For healthy energy and vitality, try New Zealand's #1 premium supplements, now available in Australia. All right, here at the House of Wellness, time for a couple of calls. We can fit them in. Next one standing by is Ingrid in Middle Swan in WA. How can we help you?
I would like to know if you've got a remedy for my spasms at night in my left thigh. They call it Charlie Horse.
Charlie Horse?
What a funny name, isn't it?
Is that the same as like a cramp?
It's a cramp, yes.
Okay.
So the solution, Ingrid, is magnesium. And you can either
I did want to suggest it, but...
I thought you would. You can apply magnesium or you can take magnesium, powder form being best.
All right, magnesium, great one. You get a good night's sleep. Great show, guys.
Is that like you get that in the soles of your feet better, right, if you put them in the soles?
No.
Okay, good. Lucky I'm not the professional.
Apart from that info, we did have some important messages this week. If you want to catch us again, head to our website, houseofwellness.com.au. Next week, we take a look at the benefits of pet therapy. Oh, puppies in a basket, please. And also, what you're doing to your kids' digital identity. Now, Zoe, anything grab your attention?
Oh, well, one thing in particular. Let's have a look at this. Wow! What a talent.
You know,
from another era.
If you've been in the industry a long time, sometimes the work dries up. What have I got to say?
You still got it.
Thanks for that. Hey, thanks for joining us, you guys, and you at home too. Thanks to our friends at Chemist Warehouse as well. That is all from us. Video nights will never be the same.
Never.
Have a healthy and well week, everyone.
Bye.